You may see this gameplay footage on your screen right now and think that this is just another one of those cute and cozy indie games. We're getting a ton of those lately. But you are actually looking at one of the best open world experiences I've ever played. This is a Short Hike, an exploration game made by Adam Robinson Yu, and it does everything it sets out to do kinda perfectly. I'm really excited to talk about this one. This is actually one of my favorite games. Here's why it's so good. Okay, so first of all, what is the story of A Short Hike? It's actually pretty simple. We play as a little bird named Claire. Her mother is dropping her to take some days off at Hawks Peak Provincial Park, where her Aunt May works as a park ranger. And you know the game is gonna be peak when it's set in the woods and has a park ranger, right? Claire is sitting around waiting for a phone call, but finds out there's no signal at the park. Except at the highest point at Hawks Peak. So, we need to hike to the top of the mountain to make our cell phone work. So that is our main objective, and we're free to go wherever we want. The game clearly wants me to follow Aunt May directions, but if I go right or down, there's stuff to do in those directions too. You can start by collecting 15 shells for this dude. Collect coins, do a parkour race, play beach stickball, a game where you hit a ball with a stick at the beach, ride a boat, get a new record in beach stickball, and no way, there's fishing? There's even fishing! This is the best game ever! Wait, wasn't I supposed to do something? Oh yeah, right, the mountain. I'm sorry, Claire, let's get you that cell phone reception. So Claire's pretty agile, she can move around in a ton of different ways. She can walk, run, jump, climb, swim, and glide. And to do some of those actions, especially climbing and gliding, we will need to use golden feathers. Those are the main collectibles of the game, and they work both as an extra jump and stamina bar for climbing. They can be found laying around the map, bought from a vendor, or gained as a reward for helping certain characters. The official minimum required to beat the game is 7, but you'll probably want to collect them all. And why is that? Well, because there's only 20 feathers in total, and most of them are unique and fun to collect. It's the reverse of the Mario Odyssey Power Moons, whereas that game has so many collectibles that we end up losing the desire to collect more than necessary. Here, we feel a lot more encouraged to collect everything by having fewer and more significant ones. Overall, the game is pretty fun to control. Running, climbing, and especially flying around feels great. With story and controls out of the way, we can focus on what makes A Short Hike a fantastic open world experience. And it's basically all about how it excels in two things. 1. Great onboarding, and 2. Sense of discovery. Every game is different from each other. That means whenever we start a new one, we need to learn how to play it. The way a game teaches you how to play it varies from game to game. There was a time way back then that we had physical manuals. But nowadays it's all about in-game tutorials. In addition, the game also needs to guide the player towards the objectives. It's easier in a 2D game where you can only go left or right. Usually, the goal is to the right. But when we're talking about 3D, it gets more complicated because there are a lot more variables. The player can go anywhere, especially when it's an open world. So how can you make the player go where he needs to go? There's a lot of different ways to do it, but most of the times, it nails down to showing a marker on the player's face. Like having points of interest highlighted on a minimap, a GPS system, an arrow that literally points on where you need to go. You can even mark the environment with yellow paint, although this is quite a controversial solution. A Short Hike does something a lot more engaging and harder to achieve. It guides the player in a completely organic way, and also teaches everything we need to know 100% in-game and in-universe. Okay, not 100% in-universe because some characters gives you button prompts, but it's all through dialogue. It doesn't even have a minimap or an in-game map at all. Even so, at the end of the journey, you'll most likely create a mental map of the park and done everything the game had to offer. And this comes from the map being built in a very intelligent way. Adam talks about the development in depth in GDC talk. It's a really good video, but basically everywhere you go there is something interesting to see or to do. Whether it's a collectible, a treasure chest, a cute character, a cool looking structure. And secondly, the game considers all of the different paths that a player can take and uses that to guide us toward all of the cool stuff that it has to offer. For example, at the start of the game, the first roadblock we hit is when we need to climb this hill to continue the hike, but are unable to do it without golden feathers. But before we even get to that part, the game gives us multiple chances to learn about the feathers and how to climb. The first feather needs to be bought from the visitor center, and multiple characters and signs direct us to go there. First, we pass by these two little dudes that are part of a rock climbing group. Oh, I'm sorry, they are part of the Rock Climbers Association that has hundreds of members spawning from over 35 countries worldwide. Here you are only their third member though. But anyway, as you join, they sent you to get a feather from the visitor center, and after you get one, they teach you how to climb. But if you go right past them, the visitor center is on the same path forward, so you'll probably go there anyway. And the guy who sells them also teaches you how they work. If you ignore him too, maybe you're playing the game wrong, like we need to talk to the people, come on. But no problem either, because right in front of the hill, there is a sign to teach you about the golden feathers too, and how you need to buy one from the visitor center. We had 3 opportunities to learn what we need to learn before getting to the part that we will be stuck without knowing how to climb. All through dialogue and signs at the park. There's many more examples of this kind of stuff in a short hike, showing how good the onboarding is. Another good one is at the very beginning. If you try to walk past Aunt May without talking to her, she scolds you and then does her introductory dialogue, where she says there's no signal at the park. So basically you can't leave this area without knowing the main objective of the game. Even if you start by walking to the right, which is clearly the wrong direction, it finds a way to put you back on track. You can even go swimming down towards the ocean and you find some activities there too. There's no dead zones in the map. And this brings us to our second point, that is sense of discovery. Bro, exploration in a short hike is so good. Hawks Peak Provincial Park is full of characters for us to interact with during our hike. All of them with little stories left me really invested because the dialogue is pretty charming. And is written like text messages. The conversations go back and forth quickly and sometimes are quite funny. Running is my life. I run marathons all around the world. What if running wasn't my life, but I was actually using running to run from life? That's a troubling thought. Without any exaggeration, a short hike hit me with the same feeling that I had when playing Breath of the Wild for the first time. That feeling that I know I have a main objective, but the exploration is so fun that I keep getting distracted to do other things. Every time the path diverged between a road that went straight to the top of the mountain and a road that goes to a random place, I always 100% went to the road that goes to a random place. I hit my mic. The map is not that big, but it feels alive. And every now and then we got these branching paths. And you can go the different way, discover new stuff, meet more characters, increase your real life happiness, and after all that, you can easily get back on track without getting lost because the map is that well constructed. You guys have no idea how many times I open and close my map while playing games like Firewatch and the Silent Hill 2 remake. And even I, with my terrible sense of direction, can easily find my way around here. And again, even though the park has all of these characters that we can talk to and receive tasks from, we don't have a minimap full of dots indicating where they are, nor a huge list of side quests that looks like mandatory work. And even so, I remember everything I had to do. This guy right here, for example, told me that he lost his camping permit because, you won't believe it, a fish ate it. Sometime later, I was fishing and I caught a fish. And hear me out because you're not gonna believe this. The fish had a camping permit in his mouth. I immediately remembered about the cat and went running to give him the permit back. And what's great about this interaction is that when he first told me that he lost his permit, I didn't even know that I could fish in this game and find it for him. It's refreshing to play an open world game that doesn't hold my hand all of the time. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that every modern sandbox game sucks and are the worst thing ever, and an example of everything wrong in the modern state of gaming. I've recently been playing Watch Dogs 2, which is a modern open world game in its purest form, and I'm having fun. But you can't deny it that you're just following the GPS most of the time, going from waypoint to waypoint. While on a short hike, you don't need waypoints or directions because the characters and tasks they give you are memorable enough to make you remember what to do. And of course that the smaller quantity also helps. This raccoon is my favorite character. He's very insecure because he's got invited to an art exhibition and is struggling to create something that he thinks is worthy. And as a creative person myself, that is really relatable. When you talk to him, Claire is really cute and gives him some words of encouragement, and at the end of each talk, he tells you where he's going next to trying to find some inspiration around the park. He doesn't even ask you to go see him or anything, but I was so interested in the character that every time I was exploring and stumbled across a place that matched the description that the raccoon told me he would be, I got excited and dropped what I was doing to go look for him. This is basically the gameplay structure of a short hike. Climbing the mountain, but stopping several times along the way, being entertained by all of the little stories happening around the park. It's totally a scenario where the journey is more important than the destination, and because of the smaller scope of the game, every single interaction feels a lot more meaningful. You remember about the cat that lost his camping permit, you remember the artist raccoon struggling to paint, you remember the kid building sandcastles that lend you a shovel at the start, you remember everyone that you meet at the park. I guess you can say the real short hike really was the friends that we made along the way. I guess you can say the real short hike really was the friends that we made along the way. I didn't even say it, but you probably noticed by now that the graphics are really cute. You can even adjust the pixel size as you like. The music is also great. Composed by Mark Sparling, it adapts to your movement and location. This also helps you create the mental map of the park because you can find your way around based on what music is playing. Bonita, you're just glazing this game non-stop. Isn't there anything that you didn't like? And I think the only thing I dislike about this game is that it ends. And it ends very quickly. Doing everything I say took me about 4 hours. And it actually feels a lot longer because you're just having fun and doing a lot of different stuff. Anyway, I'm not gonna complain about the length of a game literally named A Short Hike. Especially when it's a game that I really love and even made me cry. Twice. I know it doesn't look like a game that makes you cry, but what can I say? I'm just a very sensitive person. Both of the reasons are two big spoilers of the end of the game, so if you haven't played yet, I highly recommend you to do it. Go play it and then come back here later. First time was right at the end of the game when we discover why Claire wanted to use her phone so bad. Hello? Hi Claire. Mom! I'm so glad to hear from you. I've been waiting all day to hear from you. I've been worried.
Oh, honey, I told you I'll be fine.
Yeah, but you always say that.
And I always am. Anyway, how have you been?
Well, I'm on the top of Hulk's Peak right now.
Oh, wow. I love it up there. May and I used to go every summer together. It's about time you made it up.
Yeah, I know.
You're so big now. My little girls live in the nest. You don't have any need for little old mom.
But I do need you. I'll never not need you. When I heard about the surgery, how come you never told me this was a thing?
I didn't want you to worry.
But
I know you can get worked up about things.
I could have been there for you. You're all alone there now.
Really, it was nothing. Everything was fine.
I'm just glad you're okay. I love you, Mom.
I love you too.
Bro, the visuals, the music, the conversation that feels very real, that hit a little bit too close to home for me. That feeling when you realize your parents are getting older, it's very complex, and I still don't know exactly how to deal with it. And I played this in 2020, and that wasn't a fun time to live. And thinking about my mom in the context of that time really made me feel a lot of things, and I just cried a lot. And it made me think that I would totally 100% climb a mountain to the sake of my mom, and and that made me very very emotional, and yeah, that was that. The second time that this game made me cry was a lot more simpler. It was just cute, and it didn't create a lot of introspective thoughts about growing older and the passage of time. If you go back to climb the mountain a second time, this little guy will be there almost off the end, but will not be able to climb to the top because the bridge is broken. You can lend him some of your feathers to climb, and when he gets there, he is very grateful and offers to take a picture of you. And man, that is just too adorable. So yeah, it may have been just a short hike, but the journey was an unforgettable experience. And that's why I say without a doubt that this is one of the best open world games I've ever played. And as much as the exploration and onboarding is perfect for all of the reasons we talk about, they really work that well precisely because everything was designed to work like this from the start. You can't just pick up any open world game and take away the minimap and quest list and think it will be a better experience just for that. Hi, I'm Nitta, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm currently working on another one, covering more indie exploration games like this one, so stay tuned for that. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye!